everybody, it's Jennifer with the Lamb Library, and as you might have noticed, I'm not inside the library. I am outside because today we're talking about the science of rainbows and light, and we need to be outdoors in the sunlight for some of these activities to work really well. Some of them can work with flashlights, but they do better in the sunlight. So one thing you'll need to do these activities is our little kit. If you haven't picked one up, you can call and check and see if we have any left. They are available first come, first serve. And in the kit, we have a few different things. To start off with, we have a little instruction booklet that tells about the supplies that are in the kit, what else you might need, how to access the video, and directions for some of the activities I'm going to show you, and a few others that you can try at home. And on the back, there are some questions you can think about and some other books that you can check out if you want to learn more about light and rainbows and optical effects. There is also a prism ball like this, and a blank CD, and a pair of refraction glasses. And we'll talk more about some of these later, but those are the things in the kit. And some other things that you might need when you're doing these at home. You can try doing the activities with a flashlight as well as sunlight. And there are a couple activities that you can do with a glass or a bowl of water and a small mirror. But first, we're going to talk about how rainbows are formed, and I have a little pop quiz for you to see how much you know about rainbows already. So let me get my presentation up, and all right, and let me get the slideshow started. Okay, so here we go. We're talking about rainbow science. And let's see how much you know about rainbows already. And you can type your answers in the comments or have your grown-up type it for you. So when do we see rainbows? Okay, that's right. I figured most of you would know that. We usually see them after a rainstorm. Do you know what colors are in the rainbow and what order they go in? We'll talk more about this in a minute. All right, now some of these are a little silly, but what is at the end of a rainbow? I heard somebody say a pot of gold. That's what the common saying is, and we'll find out if you're right about that in just a little bit. Now, there is a very famous song called Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Do you know who sang that or what it's from? We'll see that in a minute. And what does a rainbow taste like? I heard somebody say it. We'll find out at the end. And can you make a rainbow? We're going to see how you can make things that look like rainbows and show the colors. They're not exactly a rainbow. All right. So this is how a rainbow forms. You see the sun comes out as it's still raining and there's still water droplets in the air. When the sun hits the water droplets, it bounces around inside the droplets, which causes the light to be bent and reflected. And when it comes back out, it's broken up into all the colors that make it up. And that's what we see as a rainbow. So you need sunlight, and you need water or something else that will bend and reflect the light, and this is called refraction. Okay, and if you'll notice, there are 7 colors in the rainbow. Now here's a close-up of where you can see what's going on when the sunlight hits the water droplet. You see it bounces around inside a couple of times, and then when it comes back out, it's no longer white light. It's split into 7 different colors. All right, so here are the colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And when you see a rainbow, you'll notice that red is on the top, and then the purple is on the inner part of the rainbow. Now you see this one, this graphic shows indigo. Some people argue that that's not really a separate color in the rainbow. So sometimes you'll see it with indigo, sometimes you'll see it without. And a good way to remember the order they go in is Roy G. Biv. Now here's where we find out what is at the end of the rainbow. Well, actually nothing is at the end of the rainbow because rainbows really don't have an end. They are actually circular. We can only see part of them at one time. So it looks like an arch to us, but it is really a complete circle. And sometimes if you're in an airplane up high, you can look down and see the entire rainbow. So there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow because the rainbow doesn't have an end. Right now, you may have seen double rainbows. So what happens to form the double rainbow is that sometimes when the light hits the water droplets, it'll bounce around an extra time. So that causes the second rainbow. And if you look closely over here, you'll notice the second rainbow is not as bright and the colors are reversed. So it starts with red on the inside and goes to purple on the outside. So if you look at a picture that shows a double rainbow, you can tell if it is a genuine picture or if it's been faked. Because if the second rainbow has red on the outside and blue on the inside, just like the first one, then you know that's not a real picture, that it's been photoshopped. So the second rainbow will always be more faint and the colors will be reversed, and it's caused by an extra bounce of light. And here are some other optical effects that are similar to rainbows. The first one over here is called a glory, and it is very similar to a rainbow in that it's formed with the interaction of light and fine water droplets in the clouds. But instead of just seeing one rainbow that has a wide diameter, you see much narrower or smaller diameter concentric circles that are wider. So you see one here and they'll proceed out and fade. So these are called glories, and you can see them a lot when you're flying in an airplane in the clouds. And then here is another partial rainbow effect that sometimes you can see up in the clouds on the sunny day from the ground. There's something called a fog bow. And this is just like a rainbow. The sunlight is interacting with water droplets in the air, but the water droplets in fog are much, much smaller than in the rain. And this causes the colors to be very, very faint. So to most people, the fog bow appears to be whitish because the colors are so faded. You can also get halos around the moon, and these are formed by ice crystals in the air. So you can see those in the winter. Rainbows can also be formed in the moonlight, which is reflected sunlight. The moon reflects the sunlight down, so you can still get rainbows at night in the moonlight. You can also get rainbows from other water sources. I'm sure you've all seen when you spray a mist from your hose just the right way, you can see a rainbow in it. And you can also see rainbows in waterfalls. And this is a waterfall back in Kentucky where I'm from called Cumberland Falls that's famous for the rainbow you can see in the moonlight. So you can see lots of different effects. Now we're going to get to some of the ways that we can produce rainbow effects. Now these aren't true rainbows, of course, because they're not produced by rain, but they're produced other ways. You can use a prism, which is a piece of glass that is cut in a certain way that will also bend the light. And this is, again, still using refraction, just like the water, but it's glass instead. And I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay, other ways you can use water. And this one is a little trickier. I'm going to try it today, but it's probably something you'll need to play around with at home to really be able to see, because the rainbows produced this way are usually very small and faint. You can hold a glass just right in the sunlight or use a flashlight and see a rainbow projected either next to the light, or if you put it at the edge of the table, sometimes it shows up better down on the floor. You can put a mirror in a bowl of water at an angle and shine a flashlight on it and project a rainbow on the wall or on a piece of paper you hold in front of it. And you can try that a couple of different ways. And here's another different kind of glass. So you can try different shapes of glass with that experiment. Okay, and then you can use CDs. And these produce rainbow colors with a different method. It's called diffraction. So instead of bending and reflecting the light like water does and dispersing it into separate colors, the DVD has lots of little tiny grooves and bumps in it, which is how the sound is recorded. And this bends the light and causes it to break up. So it's a little bit different effect, and it's called diffraction, whereas rainbows produced by water are called refraction. Okay, and then the last one is the diffraction glasses. So these are really fun. I think you'll have a lot of fun looking at different kinds of light with these, but one thing you need to be sure you do not look directly at the sun. They do not have any protection in them. So only look at indoor lights or look at reflected light closer to the ground, but not directly at the sun. So I'm going to show you some of these in a little bit. And one thing I want to note on this picture here with the diffraction glasses, you can tell whether a light bulb produces the whole spectrum of light or just certain wavelengths. So if you look at this one right here, if you look at these lights, you'll see there's a continuous spectrum of color. There's no breaks in it. But if you look at the ones on this side in the same picture, you'll see some little black bands where there are gaps. So they're kind of cool for that. And this is looking, you can look directly at the moon and get effects that way. And so here again is a closer up picture where you can see a continuous spectrum by these lights. And these lights over here have some dark bands in them where they don't produce continuous wavelengths. Okay, now to some of our silly questions. So what does a rainbow taste like? It tastes like Skittles, do you think? Probably not. It probably doesn't have much taste. And then, okay, and that is the end of our slideshow. So let me get this back out of the way. So, okay, so now we'll try some of these activities, and some of them will work better than others, but if you try them at home, you'll be able to see even better. So the first thing I'm going to use is this prism. So these are cut out of optical quality glass or acrylic. This one happens to be acrylic. And when you get light through them at just the right angle, it breaks it up into the spectrum. So we're going to try that now. And I'm going to bend my laptop down so you can see. And sometimes it shows up better on white paper, and sometimes it shows up better on black paper. Okay, let's see. Can you see right along here? You see the rainbow it's producing? Now let's see how well it shows up on the black paper. So we see, whoops, I lost it. Okay, you can see it there. And then as you see, as you turn it, it starts to lose it and go back to white light. And then as you get closer to the right angle, you start to get all the different wavelengths. So you can see here there's red, orange, yellow, blue, and purple. Okay, and there it is again on the white paper. And let's see. Sometimes there, it's a lot brighter, easier to see if you can project it into a shadow. So and there it is on the black with the shadow. I hope everybody can see that. Okay, so this is a really neat one. It's fun to play with. And The acrylic ones aren't very expensive. The optical glass are kind of pricey. So there's that. Okay, and then I'm going to show you the little crystal prism ball. So if you get these in just the right light, they will produce a lot of different rainbows. And depending on the kind of crystal you'll have, some of them work better than others, and some of them look different. Okay, so there you can see those. Okay, and we'll try a couple of others. Let's see. And these are actually fancy crystals to put on chandeliers or light poles, but they're really fun to play with to make rainbows too. So you can see this one. Oh, there's a rainbow there. Like I said, sometimes they work better than others, and you have to get the angle just right. All right, we'll do one more of those before we move on to something else. Okay, so this one reminds me of the Apollo landing capsule. Okay, and if we get it just right, let's see. It's not wanting to work today. Let's see. Okay. There we go. You can see some over here. There we go. We have a nice arc of rainbows right here. You can see in the black, and you see there. And some up here. So these are fun to play with. Like I said, I've given you the one round one. Then that is yours to keep. Okay, and we'll try the glass of water. This one is hard to get to be visible on camera, but you can just hold it in the sun. Try different angles. You can try it with a flashlight inside. And try different glasses. This one, okay, I don't know if you can see, but there's a little tiny rainbow right down here. So you can play around with that. And different glasses will produce rainbows of different size, and some are easier to see. So you can play around with that. Right, and now, okay, the diffraction glasses. So again, these are a lot of fun. So you just put these on, okay, just like that. And you might look like a dork, but you get to see some really cool effects. And let me hold this up to the webcam and see if it works that way. It doesn't look like it is working all that well. But when you get these, they're a lot of fun. Again, don't look directly at the sun, but you can look around at all different kinds of light, and they're really cool. So that is all I have for today. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments, and I will come back and answer them. And again, if you didn't have a chance to pick up a kit, give us a call at the Lamb Library to see if we have any left. And if we have any left, they are first come, first serve. If we run out of kits, I do have some extra diffraction glasses. So if we don't have kits and you would still like a pair of those, just let me know and I can give those to you when you come by. All right, so that is our rainbow science for today. And again, we'll be back next month, the third Saturday of April, and we are going to be doing some dinosaur activities. So we're going to make our own trace fossils and learn how to make your own dinosaur dig. All right, so until then, take care and have fun and enjoy the weather, and we'll see you next month.